Welcome outside the Purple Room, where today I'm battling the treacherous weather and coming to you to talk to you about the maturity factor. And as a kid, I was one of those shy girls in school who would not really socialize with anyone. I'd like to hover with my group of friends and just be by myself. And as time went on, high school came along, I discovered, you know what, it was time to break out of my shell and become that outgoing, social little butterfly I am today. For Andrea Bargnani, he has been able to evolve out of his shell as well. In 2006, Andrea Bargnani came from Europe. He was the first round draft pick for the Toronto Raptors, and it must have been the biggest experience of his life, having to come up on stage knowing just a little bit of English and having to shake hands with the commissioner, David Stern.
With the first pick in the 2006 NBA draft, the Toronto Raptors select Andrea Bargnani from Italy.
What's big news in Italy, not as big as Italy playing the Ukraine in the World Cup, but you're looking at the first European player ever selected #1 overall, the second international player. Yao Ming was the first back in 2002. And Andrea Bargnani, not a center, plays on the perimeter, great shooter.
At the age of 21, coming to the NBA for Andrea Bargnani was definitely a learning curve. Especially when you're the first round draft pick, the pressure is on in an instant. In 2001, it was Kwame Brown, who was drafted by the Washington Wizards. Then in 2005, Andrew Bogut was drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks. And maybe the biggest disappointment so far has been the first round draft pick in 2007, Greg Oden, who I personally want him to be as healthy as he can be, especially for the start of this season with the Portland Trail Blazers. The first year for Andrea Bargnani might have been the biggest learning curve for him, especially since he was getting acclimated to a new country and speaking a language that he barely knew. But there were players like Jose Calderon, who had come from Spain, who was able to take him under his wing and show him the ropes. And in the first year, the Raptors achieved a lot of success. As a franchise, the Raptors were able to become the Atlantic Division champions, and they were able to sneak into the playoffs, but unfortunately, a little bit of disappointment as they were a first-round exit. Some of Andrea Bargnani's biggest achievements do include being the Rookie of the Month. Two other people in Raptors history to ever have that title would be Vince Carter and Damon Stoudemire. He was able to do that with playing 25 minutes a night, and he was able to show us a little bit of his skill as he was compared to coming in to the season with Dirk Nowitzki. He was great around the basket, being able to rebound and shoot from the outside with a sweet shooting stroke just like Dirk. This second year, the promise of being a sensation dissipated. It was supposed to be Andrea Bargnani and Chris Bosh, the 1-2 punch, but that combo definitely didn't go the way it was supposed to. His first 3 games, he was the point leader for the Toronto Raptors, but then things took a turn for the worse. As if being a 1-2 punch with Chris Bosh wasn't enough on his plate, added pressure was the GMs around the league in the 2007-2008 season prior to it beginning had projected him to be a sensation and break all sorts of comparisons between him and Dirk Nowitzki. But that wasn't the case as the year went on, and in January, the minutes started to drop, and Andrea Bargnani was becoming a quote-unquote bust around the league. The summer of 2008, Andrea Bargnani had a lot of reason to reflect on what had happened the last season. This season, he was ready, and ready to prove all the doubters wrong. After Sam Mitchell was fired in Denver in January, Jay Triano took over, and he showed a sense of confidence like no one else ever had for this young kid who went off. And when I mean went off, he averaged career stats, something we had not seen from this young kid who they call Il Mago, the magician. He had come alive and he was gaining confidence as the games went by and as time went on, and he bulked up and he was showed that he was going to make it a constant effort to go to the basket, attack the rim, and be aggressive. July 8th, 2009. Andrea Bargnani signed a 5-year, $50 million deal with the Toronto Raptors. GM Brian Colangelo was ecstatic because it was the start of many, many transactions to come. But Brian Colangelo did say that Andrea Bargnani is scratching just the surface of what his potential really is. And if Andrea Bargnani wasn't happy, he did allude to the fact that it was Jay Triano who last season was the catalyst in helping him make the mistakes and be on the court and allow him to succeed as he played 30 to 45 minutes on a nightly basis. As we inch closer and closer to the start of the NBA season, this preseason has showed us just why Andrea Bargnani is that draft pick that we wanted in 2006. He has proven that even training with the national team, he has shown us the presence of being an inside-outside player. More work around the rim, he's a rebounder, he gets to the basket any opportunity he gets, and as an extra added bonus, on each game that I've witnessed him play this preseason, he has made a conscious effort to drive to the rim. That's all we wanted from the kid, drive, and he's shown us just how much he can do that. And if that is not all, he is aiming to be an all-star this season. Thanks for joining me outside the Proper Room where I'm bearing the frigid conditions and coming to you to talk to you about the maturity factor. So make sure you stay locked to raptorscentral.blogspot.com for all your Raptors news, and make sure you follow me on Twitter, Raptors_Central. That's it for me, and I will see you again next time. Take care and have fun.